Hi, and welcome to 30-Second Success Connect, where we introduce entrepreneurs who love to connect and lead with their hearts. I'm Laura Templeton, the founder and CEO of 30-Second Success, and with me today is Judy Kane, a PSYCH-K Facilitator. She is your partner in identifying and releasing subconscious beliefs that keep you or your clients stuck repeating unhealthy patterns. The shifts her clients experience result in them finally achieving what they've longed to with ease. So Judy, thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm really excited to have you on because you're one of the new people I've met in my networking recently. So it's a pleasure to bring you on here because I love just highlighting people and how we connect. So you know, what inspired you to take me up on my offer to get on here and be interviewed about networking?
Well, actually, I thought it was going to be more like a one-to-one, but I always look for opportunities to get to know people in the networking groups better. So, and you asked for help, and that's what we do in this particular networking group is we're a very supportive group. So somebody says, I need a little help or information about this, and many of us are more likely to see if we can do something about that.
You know, I love that. I love that you highlighted that because you're absolutely right. That is one of the things that I love about networking. When folks in your network ask for help, everybody, there's such a willingness to support one another. And, you mentioned the fact that we met through the virtual networkers online recently. And I will tell you, Jill Celeste does a phenomenal job of connecting like-minded entrepreneurs in this virtual networking group. So, and I love that. So, one of the things that we talked a little bit about was how, obviously that's how we met. But I think there's a deeper side to it as well. And again, it's about supporting one another, right?
Right, absolutely.
So share with me a little bit about your networking journey, how you love to connect with people, and you talked a little bit about the one-on-one. So, if you could kind of go a little bit deeper for folks that may not understand the importance of that.
Sure. Well, I started my business in 2014 in Richmond, Virginia, where I knew a lot of people because I'd lived there my whole life. In 2015, I moved to the Tampa Bay area of Florida and didn't know anybody except for my daughter, who was not in my business. So that didn't really, it was nice to be near her, but she wasn't going to help with the business aspect of it. So I started networking. I did some research on what groups were right there, what looked like it would be a good fit for me, started visiting around to the ones that were in person, and found several groups that felt like a good fit. And so I started going to the meetings, and if there was somebody that looked like we'd have some common interests, then I would set up one-to-ones with them so I would get to know them better and look to see how we could help each other with our businesses. And so I made a lot of friends that way, which was great. And a couple of years ago, I guess, at it was a holistic group I belonged to at the time, Jill came to talk about her new virtual meeting group that she was starting up. And that sounded great to me. So I followed up, attended one of those meetings, and immediately signed up because, gosh, what could be easier than sitting at your own place, whatever that is, with your own coffee, and network with people that aren't just local but are all over the place. And that has been a really good decision on my part.
I love the fact that you use networking for a way to make friends in your new community. I think that's a beautiful testimony to how we do sometimes move around, or all of a sudden we find ourselves in a place where we're kind of isolated. So networking offers the ability to connect with people because we are such, people love to connect, and it's just, in our nature of feeling that connection. So share a little bit about what helped you to determine which networking groups were better for you. What was the catalyst for making that determination?
What I do is a little out of the ordinary. So one of the things I would do is look for where there was more interest in the type of work that I do. Some groups, I wasn't getting any traction, and that was okay. What I do needs an explanation, so if people were interested and asked a few questions, that tended to be a better group than people that looked a little uneasy and tried to look at somebody else to figure out who to talk to next.
So, and that's really interesting that you share that, because I think sometimes people, when they don't understand, they have a tendency to appear a little bit uneasy rather than asking questions. So that's one of the things that I encourage a lot of people with, if you don't understand what somebody does, learn more about it. Rather than running away from it, invite it in, be open and receptive to hearing more about what people do. It may or may not be for you, but it might be something, number one, it could probably be really, really interesting, very enlightening, and it might be something that could help someone else that you know, right? So, networking really has the ability to just open doors for everyone. But you're right, sometimes it's a feeling when it comes to picking a group. Like if it doesn't feel right, 9 times out of 10, go with your gut. Yeah, and it's interesting, and I think that was one of the things that I shared with you with Jill's group. The first time I was there, I normally network in person, and I hadn't really thought about doing a virtual networking. Friday mornings are my stay at home, get caught up time. But I was invited by Debbie to sign up, Debbie Kevin. And I was invited to this event. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. And immediately I felt connected. I felt like part of the group. So it's like that, you go. Now I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stick with this group on Friday mornings. Like, okay, which I really didn't expect. I was, because I do most of my networking is in person. But I love this group in particular because, and here's the really interesting thing about online networking, there are people from other countries. The online networking gives us the ability to connect with people globally, right? Globally. When you think about it, it's like, I really hadn't thought about that. There's a number of women's networking groups that I belong to, and I've connected with people through their directories, right? But I've never really been in like a Zoom, like a networking meeting with them, which is interesting. So interesting. So share a little bit about your work and how you've been able to grow your business through the people that you network and some of the unique opportunities that networking has allowed you, or just afforded you with your business.
I help people rewrite subconscious self-limiting beliefs. And I do that with a process called PSYCH-K. And I can do it virtually, or I can do it in my brick and mortar office, either way, which makes the virtual networking really appealing. And so people come for reasons. The subconscious beliefs, people don't get that immediately, but they come either because they have big emotions that they would rather not be experiencing, like phobias or trauma or anxiety or grief, or things that are just keeping them from reacting to life events the way they would like to. Or they come because they got these conscious goals and they're working really, really hard and it's not happening, and they don't know why, and they're frustrated, and they are, pretty much at their wits' end trying to figure out what else they can do to achieve those goals. So it could be success in business, it could be relationship related, it could be their relationship with money, it could be all sorts of things. Or they come because of physical symptoms of stress, because that stress is caused by beliefs. So if you can change the beliefs, the stress will go away, and then the symptoms will. So doing this virtually, in addition to face-to-face with people, the virtual networking group was perfect for me because it expands the areas that I have people in. You know, the network has gotten exponentially bigger being in this group. And this particular group has every so often when they have an open house, if they ask me to speak, I'll go look at my numbers again. It's been about a third of my clients I've gotten either directly or indirectly from belonging to this group. Because one of the big connection points that I like to make is with coaches. I don't do coaching. I don't do behaviors. I don't do strategy. I don't do accountability. All I do is beliefs. So it's a nice fit for me to meet lots of coaches who might have clients that get stuck at a certain point in their programs, and you know, nothing is working to help them get more successful in it. They'll send them to me for an hour, and we'll, you know, work with those blocks, and then they can go back into the coaching programs and be more successful there, and then everybody's happy, right? So so it's been a really good way for me to meet individuals who come either to present to us or who are just there to attend, that sound like they might have some common, you know, interests to explore together. But then, you know, also refer. You know, they'll try out something I do and they'll tell other people about it. So it's that ripple effect that has been really powerful.
I love that. And I think there is so much power in that referral. You know, a lot of times people don't realize that when you start to introduce people within your network, there's just so much value in that. And it just creates a sense of trust, right? Because people trust who you're telling them, hey, I've worked with this person. We've had great results. Maybe you might want to talk to her too. There's so much value in that. And I think it just, because it shares our heart it shows that we care about other people when we think that they would have the same result, same success that we would have. Right? I think it's big. It really is big. So is there a specific project that you're working on right now, or something that you're offering to the community that you'd love to share with us and let us know what it is, that or something we can help you with?
No, my projects are kind of like not going too fast at the current moment. There were a few things that were in person that have kind of gotten put on hold until we can understand what travel plans would be working for people and what. So there's no real big project that I'm doing, but I'm always interested to explain to people what I do. You know, people sometimes just want to know more about what's out there.
Right.
Or if they're coaches that, you know, have clients that are stuck, you know, they come back and there's been no progress on this particular thing week after week after week. It's a good indication there might be subconscious reasons for this. So I love having one-to-ones with people who want to know more. I have a free 30-minute call that potential clients could do. And of course, talking to coaches, people come in, like I say, I don't do coaching. So sometimes I have the opportunity to refer clients to coaches as well, because what they really need is coaching, maybe in addition to what I do, but they need more of the support than what I offer with my practice.
So what you do then is you actually kind of create like a little bit of a hub of, okay, once they're done with me, they may need some additional help, and you know who to send them to, which is great.
Yeah, I've got a lot of coaches that I have worked with that have sent me people that I've talked with and kind of know how they work. Yeah.
Right. That's great. I love that. And I love that fact that, you know, you've built like a circle of, I call them a referral circle, of folks that you know and you trust, and they know your work, and you can refer back and forth to one another, which is great, which is really helpful. I love that you've looked for that opportunity to connect with people that you know who serve the same clients as you. That's a huge win for you, because it gives you the opportunity to support your clients in another way. Like, what's that next step for them? And you know that they're gonna be taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I wouldn't want to just send them to somebody that I found in a list, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. I think that's so helpful, and there's so much value in what you do. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So, yeah, I think it's encouraging to just really reach out to folks within your network, learn more about what they do. Tell me a little bit about, what you're doing to stay connected with people that you've met over the years. Now you're kind of like me, I launched my business in 2015, so you're a year ahead of me. But how do you stay connected? You've got folks that are in different states at this point in time. Obviously you do a lot more work because of the ability to do it through Zoom. So how do you stay connected with folks?
Well, I have a newsletter that goes out to clients who choose to sign up for it. I have a Facebook page that people may or may not have been clients, but most of them are in my networking circle that are, not all of them, but it started with people in my networking circle that would be, liking or following that page. It's mostly with the networking, and then some of the people that I just have more contact. If I haven't heard from somebody in a while, I'll shoot them a text and say, how you doing? Let's set up a time to just talk on the phone and catch up. So more like that than anything else.
Right. That's great. And that's the simplicity of it. When somebody pops into your mind, you're letting them know you're thinking about them. Sometimes I don't act on stuff like that fast enough. And then it just happened to me the other day. I was thinking about somebody, and the very next day I got a text from her.
Yeah,
apparently sent her a message.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll follow them on Facebook, and I don't spend much of my time out there, but if something pops up, I'll certainly make an effort to like or share posts that they make if they're in a business. So yeah.
That's great. That's really great. So, well, listen, it has been a joy to share time with you and to get you on video with me. I know it was a little bit of a surprise, like, hey, let's do an interview.
It's like, oh, okay.
I love sharing people. I love sharing people's stories, and I'm so glad that I got to share you with my audience, and hopefully people will connect with you. I'll make sure that I include your website in
Excellent.
the text below on YouTube, and hopefully we'll just stay connected. I know we'll stay connected through the virtual networking group, but I would love to have more conversations with you, and maybe not on Zoom, maybe just over a cup of coffee. So, but yeah, I would love that. So it was so nice to meet you, Judy. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, subscribe to 30 Second Success Connect for more videos, and share us with your friends. I'm Laura Templeton. Thank you so much for being here with Judy and myself.